G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today we're breaking from the usual format and speaking with a subject matter expert on visual models and intellectual property. I'm interviewing Renée Hasseldine from Think RAPT. Thanks for your time, Renée, this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Troy. Great to be here.
And you're based in lockdown Melbourne at the moment?
We are. I'm in Victoria.
Yeah,
yep.
I never heard that. Never heard that phrase. That's good. And tell us a little bit about your background and experience for the audience.
Yeah, so my career actually started off, and this shocks people because of my personality, but I actually did accounting and finance at uni.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, I know. But it's okay.
I did accounting as well at uni. I loved it. It's one of my 2 degrees, but yeah, it's you do get some odd comments at parties. I don't tell many people that. Yeah.
No. Well, that's kind of where it started, but it also it's an important part of the story because if I hadn't done that and realised what I didn't want to do, I probably wouldn't have, and realised in a really hard way because I hit rock bottom with it. I just went, this is not what I want to do with my life. So what pushed me.
Did you do your CPA or CA charter?
I didn't. No, I didn't do that. I jumped straight into, so I was working for an internet startup, and we did a backdoor listing on the stock exchange, and we did, it was all this exciting stuff. I was the only female non-techie person in this internet startup company. Yep. So it was all very exciting times, and it was before the bubble burst.
Yep.
And then the bubble burst. I had, prior to that, I'd also done work at PricewaterhouseCoopers, IBM Global Services. So I sort of started my life in a corporate kind of environment, and then went, oh, this is not for me. I think my personality is way too big for this stuff.
What years were you at PwC? I was there 97 to end of 99.
A little bit earlier than that.
Right, okay.
We won't reveal our age, Troy.
It's one of the questions I often ask when you jumped into your own business. What age were you? But I mean, you look early 30s, Renée.
Thank you. I'll take that.
So what age did you decide to jump out of corporate?
So it was late 20s.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So decided to leave the corporate world, and I actually I probably did what other people do as well. I was focused more on what I was running away from, which was I was running away from the corporate world rather than what I was running towards. So I actually jumped back to my roots. I'm 4th generation hospitality industry. So I left the corporate world and opened a bar.
Yep.
And a consulting business at the same time. But really, day to day, I was in a bar/cafe, and that was probably not the best move, but I learned a lot of quality lessons along the way about how important market research is. And
it's a pretty hard industry, F&B, food and beverage, to make good money, or any money really.
Yeah.
So would have been a good training ground, I think, for you.
It was a big training. I mean, I grew up in a pub, so I grew up in a family business, and I knew, I understood the day-to-day life, but by the time I was opening my own cafe, I was a vegan non-drinker.
Yep.
Opening a cafe in West Footscray in Melbourne, which was not really the right market for what I was offering. And it was before we had Facebook, where I could just find all the vegan groups and go, hey, here's my thing, come and,
Yep.
that if you build it, they will come, just wasn't going to work.
And so how many years did you do that for?
I did it for a couple of years. But at the same time I started my consulting business. So my consulting business started in 2001, and that's really kind of the main story. That's sort of really my focus has always been working with entrepreneurs and people who are really big ideas people, because kind of my skill is taking complex ideas and this blue sky thinking and making it real, making it tangible. And the way that I do that now is more through visual models. So what I kind of, my superpower basically is, if you meet someone and they try and tell you what they do, they kind of do this knowledge vomit.
Yes.
And you're just like drowning in all their words thinking, what the hell are they talking about? Eyes glazed over like, nah, move on. What I do is I take that complex web of thoughts from their brains and I channel it into, there's 4 different types of information we want to extract when we're doing that. And I take each of those 4 types of information and create visual models. So like an infographic style diagram for each of those 4 different messages. And then those 4 messages together become this sales pitch, or, this ability to communicate clearly and succinctly what someone does.
And is that in communication mainly for internal purposes or also external?
It can be for both contexts. So we've got clients who use it for external purposes. So this is, a service-based business who struggles to communicate what they do because it's an intangible thing. Like, it's not like it's a product that people can pick up and shake. Where there's a complex solution, it's great for external comms. But when you've got internal, we've used it in internal context as well. It can be used as a team building thing to get everybody in alignment and on board, to work out where are we heading, how are we going to create that, what do we need to master.
So important to have that alignment, but also further upstream as well. I'm imagining it would help with recruitment, because you only want to get people that are similar-minded or buy into the vision. And if you can clearly communicate it, you're going to have a better chance of getting A players on the bus that are fully aligned.
Yeah. And this makes, where you've got your sort of mission, vision, values, this actually makes it again more tangible, because you're then going further than that into the strategy of, well, how are we actually going to make this a reality? And let's not just have it in vague words and abstract words and good marketing talk. Let's actually have it in something that's physical and tangible that we can grab onto and actually see and grasp.
Yes.
And I think that kind of makes it more powerful and then more likely to be implemented and followed through.
Absolutely. Communication and copy or words are so powerful. I remember reading David Ogilvy's book years ago. He was the big advertising guru in the 1950s. The Mad Men series were really based on him. And reading that book really changed my mind on how powerful words are, because all they had really to deal with back in print before TV came along, and then even TV, were the words that they put in those ads. And the Mad Men series go into a bit of that to show how powerful that is. But the case in point, just the other day, I've been researching a platform to set my online courses up on. We have the Distillers Institute already on one platform, but I'm not overly happy with it. So I started, actually fell out of 2 podcast interviews last week, and they both highly recommended this other platform. So I went off searching, and then I looked.
Oh, tell me which one you're going to.
Well, we're on Teachable at the moment. We're looking at going to Kajabi.
Okay.
And the week before that, someone else in an interview mentioned, a week before that, someone else mentioned ClickFunnels. So I looked at ClickFunnels, Kajabi, and it was with that in the back of my mind, knowing how powerful communication copy is, it was stark to me just how good Kajabi have nailed their messaging. And so already I was leaning towards, without even diving into the demo or having a play around, I could see that the words they use and the professionalism of their website, etc. Because the ClickFunnels website is just shit. I was speaking with one of the guys I work with, and he had a look, and he said, "I said it looks like someone in grade 10 has built that website, and it's a multi huge business."
Yeah.
So just the importance of that persona, the brand, the facade.
Yeah. Well, and what ClickFunnels does, they have one specific skill I think that they do well, which is the landing page thing, which, I mean, you can really do on any website. I mean, it's not that hard. But I've also I had a client who had who was building a membership site, and they wanted to use ClickFunnels. And so we built it in ClickFunnels. And I'm glad you haven't gone there, because it's really not a great platform for content delivery. Great, sure, for landing pages, but.
Have you had a go look at Kajabi?
Many years ago, before Kajabi 2.0. So I haven't actually been back to it, because we've been on Thinkific for 5+ years. So we stick with that.
Yeah, that's another one.
It's not broken.
Yeah, that's another one I'm going to look at. But yeah, I'll be test driving all those in the next week or so. So but it really struck me, observing myself, what was influencing my thinking. And I commented to Tom when we were talking about this the other day, just how different the messaging came across between those 3 platforms that I was looking at: Teachable, Kajabi, and ClickFunnels.
Yep. And still, though, I mean, that's still a more tangible product, if you like, because it is, a software as a service. Like, there's something, you can still have something that's visible, and therefore more tangible, that they can, promote and do their marketing around. Whereas if you've got someone who's, like an accountant, or someone who is a lawyer, or a marketing coach, or, someone who's offering those more soft, non-visible services, that's more difficult to actually promote, because we can't grasp it, we can't see it. How do we actually communicate that? So that's where the power of visual models really comes into its own, because it's able to kind of help to make things a bit more concrete.
Before we get too far in, maybe tell the audience how they can get in touch with you. Where's the best place to look up what you do and reach out if they want to have a conversation?
Yeah, sure. Just go to thinkrapt.com. So think RAPT.com. You'll see it all there.
Great. Yep. And what about any brands or businesses the audience may have heard of that you work with?
So I tend to work with a lot of small to medium businesses, so they probably wouldn't be, they're not household names, apart from my corporate career back when. But yeah, we tend to work with businesses who are kind of at that point where they're about to go into a next phase of growth and scaling. So generally what we find is we're working with clients who have been working in a service-based operation and working one-on-one with their clients, and they're wanting to move into more of that one-to-many. That's when kind of pulling everything out of your head and making sure you're removing bottlenecks is really, really key. So that's kind of where our sweet spot is.
Yep. And any industries you focus in on?
Generally, we're working with consultants, experts, and thought leaders. So again, that service-based professional style of business is where we tend to specialise.
And this topic, visual models, why is it important when growing a small business?
Well, you can very successfully run, if you want to be a solopreneur and run your business and be on your own and do all the work and do all the service delivery yourself, you don't need it. But if you want to have other people on your team delivering for you, or you want to be working one-to-many, you need to remove yourself as the bottleneck. And you can't do that unless you take everything out of your head and make it in a format that's actually accessible by the rest of your team, and in a way that's easily delivered by, anybody. So you want to be able to train your staff to deliver high quality services the way you want it delivered. And so when you create your Think RAPT system and you use these 4 models, you train your team to deliver the way that you want it done. So you've got consistent service delivery across the board. And you can also then guarantee you've got a proven system to ensure that you can deliver at that high quality over and over again. So that's kind of really, really important from an internal service delivery perspective. And then in terms of your communication externally, in terms of marketing yourself and having your audience actually understanding and grasping the value that you add, this helps you to communicate that USP really, really clearly.
USP, unique selling proposition.
Yes, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, this is like harping back to my old corporate days of just throwing in some acronyms and...
And do you have examples of how powerful visual models can be for a business? Can you talk to any cases?
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you an example. One of our clients, Katie Jane Romain, career accelerator working in the resource and mining industry. So before she came to us, she already had a 300K turnover working one-on-one with clients. She was ready to scale up and work one-to-many by offering a 12-month group mastermind program. So we worked with her. The challenge she was having was when she worked with those one-on-one clients, it was very bespoke. The client came to her, they told her the problem, she gave the solution. It was very, back and forth. So the challenge that she faced was, it's very individual, every solution is customized. But what we're able to do with our system is extract all that genius and all those solutions from her brain and turn it into a proven system that now she uses with her group clients. And so she was able to go from that 300K turnover to $1 million turnover in 15 months.
Wow, fantastic. And did she add more team members?
She's got more. Well, she actually still does most of the service delivery. But what she's done is she's got multiple clients in her group program, and that's able to generate that income.
Any other examples you want to share?
Yes. So another example is one of our clients, Anna Osharov. This one speaks to conversion rates really, and how powerful you can communicate using these visual models, which we can't do on a podcast, which is, it's the frustrating thing about this is I want to show you stuff.
Well, we'll link through to your website. And if you've got any examples, we can include that in the show notes as well to link directly through to. Yeah, awesome.
Great. So Anna Osharov donated a door prize to a networking event. I know for those of you Victoria, I'm sorry, we've forgotten what they are.
Yep.
But for the rest of you who are still able to actually see people in person, those networking events. So she donated a door prize, and as part of that was allowed to get up and, talk for 5 minutes about her business. In that 5 minutes, she shared her Think RAPT system, and she showed her four models. She converted 50% of the room in 5 minutes into her half-day workshop.
Wow. I know how hard that is to get up and just explain what you do in 5 minutes. It's in the most powerful way. That is very, very hard to do. Yeah.
And if you think of like industry benchmarking in terms of conversion rates,
that's huge.
For a longer presentation is about 10%.
Yeah. Well done.
In 5 minutes to get 50%. I mean, that is the power of these models, is it's like cut through the noise, just show them what you've got. Boom. Okay, I want that. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, great. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what stops people from harnessing the full power of visual models in their business, do you think?
I think partly it's an uneducated market. People don't realise that this is something they need, so they don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
That's part of the challenge. Not many people are out there Googling, visual models. They don't know that that's something that's going to help them in their business until they meet me or someone else who is as passionate about it as I am. And until you hear someone speak about it, you don't realise that it's something that can help you with the problem that you've got. So that's probably one of the biggest problems. And then once people do hear about it, one of the challenges is that they think, oh, okay, I've got to put this into a picture. They try and take everything out of their head and put it into one picture, and they end up with a dog's breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Think RAPT, is this a system that you've developed over time, or?
Yeah, so yes, we have trademarked the system, and it is our system, our intellectual property. Well, and I say our, but really it's my brainchild.
Yeah.
But my team is so on board with it that it does feel like it really is something we all buy into. So the Think RAPT system, yes, is something that I developed and created over my years and years of working with businesses and service-based businesses, and realizing that it was something that I was instinctively doing. I was naturally simplifying information. And so this was sort of me going, okay, well, if I was going to teach someone else how to do this, how would I do it?
Yep.
And that's how I ended up with the Think RAPT system. So
great. And how many team members have you got now helping you deliver this?
We're a team of 6.
Yep.
We all work remotely.
Yeah.
Even before COVID.
Yeah, great. I've just started getting into the Strategizer framework. I'm not sure if you've had a look at any of that, but it helps with the the customer value proposition and a few other parts. It's basically making sure you know your customer and understanding you're not going into marketing particularly with biases, untested assumptions. So I did a workshop on that last week, and I've started reading their books. And I was reading last night, just thinking, this is a really hard corner of the business, and using a framework or a system like that and like Think RAPT can really unlock a lot of that complexity and boil it down to what the succinct words and actions that you need to take to really get to your right customers and provide the greatest value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that understanding your customer, as you're talking about there, that is a key foundational element that must be understood before you create your visual models, because you need to understand who the audience is for the models you're creating. You must use language they already understand and use, not your kind of lingo and jargon that you use in your own industry.
Yep.
The purpose of these visual models must always be clarity and simplicity. They're there to make things clearer, not to make you look like you're fancy and no big words.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's award-winning, the Think RAPT system. Maybe talk a bit about that.
Yeah, sure. We recently won an Asia Pacific Stevie Award for innovation.
Right.
So that's super exciting. I think it's something that really means a lot to me, because innovation to me is something that I actually really get excited about. So yeah, that feels like a bit of a pat on the back, really, to just have that external recognition for what we've done.
Yeah, and innovation's so key, as you well know. It was one of my favourite Peter Drucker quotes is, there are only 2 things in business that add value. That's marketing and innovation. Everything else is a cost. And if you think hard about what his words, it is so, so true.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely. And that's essentially what we're working on is innovation and marketing, truly, really. So there you go. Thank you, Peter Drucker. I'll take that.
Now, you've written 2 best-selling books. Tell us a bit about those.
Yes. So I've written, so the first book was in 2015 and that's called Share Your Passion. So back then I was more broadly working with clients on extracting what they do and then turning it into online courses essentially, or running workshops. So I had a broader scope of the service we were offering, and the visual models was one of the steps in that whole process. So that's sort of why I kind of have a bit of an understanding when you talk about Kajabi and ClickFunnels and Teachable and Thinkific, is because I used to be more involved in that kind of side of things. So Share Your Passion has a 7-stage process for anyone who wants to actually do that, to create an online course. You know, it's got the step-by-step process in it. So that's that first book. And the second book is called Game Changer, which is more specifically on the 4 visual models that we currently work with the Think RAPT system. Before it was renamed. So it used to be called the Sexy Model System. So the previous acronym was SEXY. And we've recently done an IP upgrade and a rebrand because we're moving more into corporate market, and we're also moving into a licensing and certification system as well. So we figured that there weren't too many people who wanted to have certified sexy models specialist on their LinkedIn profile. So
that's true.
We figured we needed to move things around. So we've landed on Think RAPT, which is great because it's the RAPT is RAPT is an acronym for the 4 types of models that you need as well. So that makes it a lot easier.
Great. No, I was going to ask, do you want to maybe run the audience through those 4 models?
I'd love to.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, sure. So the R stands for results model. So the results model is all about showing your audience what is the difference between the results they're currently getting and the results that they want. And you know this if you focused on your audience, because you know what is that main problem, what is the scenario they're currently in, and where do they want to get. So the idea is that when you share that results model, your audience will identify where they're at, where they want to be, see there's a gap and go, right, I need to do something. So that's going to give them that motivation to take some action. The second model is the answers model. This one is, what are the answers to the problems, the challenges, the obstacles that your audience is currently facing? So this is about the what. What do they actually need to get the results that they want? The third model is the process model. So this one is your methodology, your step-by-step process to get your clients from where they are to where they want to be. So that is more, when someone might talk about a signature system, or, when you think about creating a visual model, this is probably the one people would assume more commonly, because that becomes the basis of your service delivery, that process model. So it's your step-by-step, this is how we work, chronological order, usually a linear shape, because that's going to be, showing you there's the beginning and an end. And the final model is the target model. So this is all about what are the KPIs, key performance indicators, or benefits that you are targeting with your step-by-step system. And so essentially that's your 4-model system.
Great. Excellent.
Be the change you want to see in your business. Become more productive and less stressed with our free Transform Your Performance online course. Once you see the benefits, put your entire team through the course at no cost. We start out by telling you the secret to guaranteed success, then over 100 lessons help you be more focused, present, productive, and feel more in control about work. growasmallbusiness.com.
And just on the process side of things, out of curiosity, have you come across many good platforms or technology for businesses to be able to, once they've nutted out their processes, to store them so that it's easily accessible, and like an operations manual, for example?
Well, that's kind of slightly different to what we do, but I mean, there is something that we use in our business for our own internal processes, which we love, which is called Asana.
Like Slack, isn't it?
We use Asana and Slack. So Slack we use for internal communication. So we're all, the whole team, that's kind of like our water cooler, imagine if that's our office space, if you like, where we all go and talk to each other and all that sort of thing. And we find working remotely, we implemented a policy quite a while ago that everyone must, as if you were in the office together, you must come in the morning and say good morning to each other in Slack, and you say goodbye when you leave. So there's that kind of trying to generate that that culture still, that we're still working together as a team and we still talk to each other even though we're in separate buildings. So yeah, we use Slack for that. Asana is more like a project management or task management style thing. So we have Asana set up. There's sort of two different ways that we turn that into a system, but essentially it means for me as the business owner, I do not micromanage any single person on my team. I don't even have to think about what any of my team members are doing on any given day, because I know they just open Asana, do what the tasks say to do, and it's done.
Right.
And the way that we manage that is two different sets of tasks. We've got like the regular recurring tasks, the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually tasks. They're just in there, set and forget, all delegated to the right team members. And then we have project-based tasks. So for any new client that comes on board, we have a template, and then we just duplicate the template, set all the due dates for that particular client, and then that's all delegated to the right people as well. So we have we have similar sort of project templates for, you know, events. If we run a workshop or any of those things, there'll be templates again. So we just duplicate the project and then set all the due dates, and then we just know. So everyone knows they jump into Slack every morning, they jump into Asana every morning, and they just do what they got to do. And then I don't have to think about anything.
Great. It's on my list to check out, Asana and Slack. I've used Slack a little bit, but yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. And I would also say as well, the crazy thing, given how crucial they are to the success of my business, for our business size at a team of 6, both of those platforms are free.
Wow. Okay. Even right. So you haven't had to sign up to pay for, because you haven't hit whatever the threshold is, number of team members. I guess.
We have not hit the threshold, and we are really using those. You know.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Anything else on Think RAPT you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I guess sort of just to come back to those 4 different types of models, the results model and the target model is all about talking to the emotional needs of your audience, whereas the answers and processes are all about the rational needs. So what the models very artistically do is speak to both sides of your audience.
Yep. So
they're dealing with, you know, we know we make emotional based decisions, but we also need to, you know, prove that we're going to get a return on investment. So, you know, it deals with both sides of the decision making, and also the models answer the questions of why what they need and how they do it as well. So you're answering those key questions that your audience has in those 4 pictures. So they're very strategically designed to meet all the audience's questions and needs, so that the decision making process is really fast tracked. And you just use those models in everything you do: your landing pages, your website, proposal documents, everything. It all becomes very templated and very easy to use. Every keynote speaking gig you do, any of those things, 4 key models become the core structure of everything. And it just means that everything is really streamlined, and you're really reducing the kind of, you know, hamster wheel stuff that you've got to do in your business. It's just all very systemized and proven. Yeah,
great. Yeah, anything else you think the audience might need to know about Think RAPT?
Look, I would say that if you haven't discovered the power of visual models for your business, and you are in a service-based business, and you have the goal to scale and grow, then look into it, because it is a complete game changer. We know from the thousands of clients we have worked with that it totally transforms the way that you run your business. It means that you become a more profitable service-based business, because you reduce your overheads, you reduce your costs of delivering high quality services. So you're increasing your profit margin on every single project. And it also means that, you know, you're removing yourself as the bottleneck. If you are the founder and the CEO of your business and you feel like everything falls back on your shoulders, that's a heavy weight to carry. And actually taking everything out of your head is a complete game changer for the business owner. It means that you can go away on holiday, or you can go to your kid's school concert, or you can, you know, whatever it may be, but you've actually got breathing space to have something else in your life besides your business. If you remember any of those things, because I know how easy it is to get wrapped up in the day-to-day of a business and make it all consuming. So it really does free the business owner from being that from having that key person risk, without sacrificing results for clients, which, you know, we all care about.
Yeah, you want consistency of service delivery, but it also 2 big points there, which I think a lot of people early on, I certainly was in my business career, because you're so addicted to, you know, you love what you do, etc. But one, you're a blocker. You are a blocker to scale or scalability of the business, and two, you have really just bought yourself a job or created yourself a job, and you don't have a business. You don't have something you can sell on. So the more that you can systematize and structure and get the systems in place and communication across the team, so you can choose to be there or not, you've got obviously a much more valuable business than if it's really dependent on you having to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Having those intellectual property assets increases the overall value of your business if you were to sell it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, removing you as the key person risk, and yeah, it gives you options in terms of exit strategy if you want one.
Yep, great. Yeah, thanks for your time today, Renee. I think the audience will get a shit ton of value from it, and really appreciate you coming on the cast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
And for our audience, we would greatly appreciate a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. More reviews means we bubble up higher in iTunes, etc. So more business owners looking for podcast help with their growth will find us.